Are you considering a career as an American Sign Language interpreter? Becoming an ASL interpreter is life-changing as it opens you to a whole other culture and community. Many people aren't even aware of this other world. In today's video, I'll be talking about how to become an ASL interpreter, steps on how to begin your journey, advice for along the journey, and just some basic information about becoming an interpreter. So keep watching if this is something that interests you. Hi, my name's Elizabeth Lisa Ramirez and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video. I'm BelieveELI on all social media platforms and the links are down below in the description. I post twice a week on all things lifestyle, ASL, and travel. Now let's get started. First, you'll obviously need to learn the language. You can start learning ASL by attending a sign language class. You can find a sign language class at community colleges, universities, libraries, churches, organizations or clubs of the deaf, and many more places. A simple Google search can help you find the right place for you, near you. I also recommend practicing with native users of the language. There are deaf events all over the country. Sometimes they even have a Facebook page of the area near you that you can follow and keep track of any events coming up. Just search it up on Facebook. You could put like deaf events in and then your city. For the most part, if you let the person know that you're learning ASL, they'll be patient with you. Occasionally, you'll get people who get frustrated or don't want to help, and that's okay. Not everyone has to help you. But to those that are willing to help, you can ask them to slow down or repeat a sign if you didn't understand. I read on the NAD website, that stands for National Association of the Deaf. I read, learning ASL takes time, patience, practice, and a sense of humor. And that could not be more true. ASL is an official language. It is a visual language. And like any other language, it has its own rules for grammar and syntax. Learning ASL or any new language takes time. It might take you a year or maybe more. It depends on your learning pace and how much you practice. Everyone learns at a different pace. So be kind and patient with yourself. If you keep practicing, you'll get there. The NAD, National Association of the Deaf, and the RID, Registry of Interpreters for the Deaf, are a great set of websites that have plenty of information and you could search for whatever you need. They are a great resource to have. I'll put the links down in the description. To be an ASL interpreter, you have to have certain traits. Of course, knowing and having a firm grasp of ASL and English is a must. But also being flexible, committed, positive, willing to maintain and grow the skills needed, and having physical, mental, and emotional stamina. As the interpreter, you are responsible for relaying the message of many different personality types and some ideas that you may not agree with. In my ITP, my interpreter training program, we were taught about staying neutral. It is a great ability you must have as an interpreter. It's not about you. It's about the clients, deaf and hearing clients. They're the ones communicating. It's not about you. Just like doctors, unless someone threatens their own life or someone else's, you as the interpreter shouldn't intervene. This can be difficult to those people who have strong opinions about certain things. My advice is to avoid these kinds of situations as much as possible. Obviously, sometimes you can't avoid it because you're already in the interpreting situation and the topic arises. However, if you know when you're being offered the assignment that the assignment is about something that you're strong opinioned about, maybe it's not a good idea for you to interpret that situation. So it's things like that that you must keep in mind. The field is rapidly expanding. Schools, government agencies, hospitals, medical clinics, court systems, and private businesses employ interpreters. Interpreters can work in any setting, really. If there is a deaf client and a hearing client who cannot communicate and need to communicate, then there is a need for an interpreter. Some examples of settings are like medical, legal, educational, religious, mental health, rehabilitation, performing arts, and business. There are also interpreters in video relay service, that's VRS, and video remote interpreting, which is VRI. So there's a wide variety of settings to specialize in. I do suggest specializing because to me, It's the same idea with doctors. You have specialized doctors for a reason. Not one person can be fully knowledgeable about every aspect of life. It's impossible. If you're liking the video so far, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. Now back to what I was saying. Now every state has its own rules and laws about certifications for ASL interpreters. The RID website has a good resource that you can check out for every state, what laws they have. Check out what you may need in your state. I'll put the link in the description as well. There is a national interpreter certification. You may not need to be certified in ASL to be an interpreter, but you do need to be qualified. You should never, ever go into an interpreting situation if you feel you are not qualified. It is unprofessional and can be very dangerous as it causes miscommunication. And depending on the setting, it could literally be life-threatening. Sometimes people's lives are at your hands. And if you aren't prepared for that, you can cause miscommunication and let's say the wrong medication dose is given to someone who's allergic to that medication. Anything could happen. If you do not feel qualified or even think, oh, I might not be qualified for that, don't accept the job. If you're feeling iffy about it, don't accept it. You should know when you are qualified for a job. Anyways, the minimum prerequisite is a high school diploma or the equivalent. But many agencies and employers ask for interpreters to be nationally certified or at least have taken the written portion of the test and passed. And they should have a plan to continue and take the performance part of the test. And there are requirements for this certification, like having a bachelor's degree or work equivalent. By that, I mean, I don't remember exactly how much it is. I think it's 7 years of work experience. And you have to prove that work experience to them. And they might accept that instead of a bachelor's degree. You have to complete interviews and you have to pass the NIC knowledge exam and the NIC performance exam. It's 2 parts. It's the same exam, but just 2 portions of the test. After being certified, there's also CEUs you have to continue every year and other requirements, but that's not the point of this video. There are also levels to passing this exam, which are the normal national interpreter certification, the advanced, and the master. I believe it's called National Interpreter Certification Advanced, National Interpreter Certification Master. So 3 levels. Now let's talk money. Well, not really, because there's not much to say. It is difficult to say exactly how much you may earn because there are just so many factors that go into your pay rate, like location, amount of education you have, credentials you may have, the type of interpreter you are, whether it's freelance, contracted, or agency. I can say that the pay is good. It is definitely a livable amount. But of course, that depends on the kind of lifestyle you lead. Becoming an ASL interpreter is a journey, but it is well worth it in the end. And I don't know why I said end, because there really is no end. You're always growing in this journey. It's a never-ending journey until you retire, maybe. Maybe that's when it ends, retirement. It requires growth along the way. However, it is very, very rewarding. It introduces you to a whole new world, the deaf world, as I like to call it. The culture, community, and people that you will meet along the way is incredible. It can change your perspective on life. I will also link in the description some books that I recommend, like So You Want to Be an Interpreter, the edition that I have, and then the newer edition, which I believe came out January 2020, as well as a ASL Basics sign book to help you get started learning. We got a lot of goodies in the description below today, don't we? Make sure to check it out. You never know what I may add in there. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment and I will get back to them. Again, my name is Elizabeth Lisi Ramirez and thank you for watching. See you next time.